Hello and welcome to the Actual Tech Media EcoCast. My name is Jess and I am excited to be here with you all today. But before we jump into our content, I have some basic information that I want to cover with you. All right, let's kick off our day here today by taking a quick tour of your audience console. And we're going to start with the questions window. So if you haven't already said hi, there is a whole audience of cool humans out there, so reach out and give a wave to the other members of the Actual Tech Media community. Now, keep in mind that if you do have any technical issues today, a browser refresh is going to fix just about anything. But if those tech gremlins are clinging on today, no problem. Just throw a comment in the question section and our crew will be there to help. We also want this to be an informative webinar for you, so throughout today's EcoCast, we hope you'll get engaged and ask all your burning questions. Not only will we have team members responding to you over a live chat, we will also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of our presentations. Now, if we don't get to your question during the live webinar today, don't worry, because the awesome experts that we have here with us will be following up after we wrap. All right, next up, there's going to be lots of cool aha moments on the EcoCast today. And if you want to share those with your community, we've made it nice and easy for you. You can use the Twitter button right there in your audience console, and the hashtag for today's EcoCast will be automatically added to your post. All right, our last stop on this guided tour, be sure to check out the handouts tab for some awesome resources and takeaways from our speakers here today. We have an info pack collection, solution briefs, white papers, data sheets, free trials, ebooks, upcoming webinars, and more. So many great resources, so be sure to go explore. Now, if that wasn't enough fun, we also have some exciting prizes that we'll be giving away throughout today's EcoCast. I'm going to tell you a bit more about those later on, but a few quick reminders for you all. First, you do need to be here live in attendance at the EcoCast in order to qualify to win a prize, and we will follow up with all of you after we wrap. Now, all winners must submit an IRS Form W-9 to Actual Tech Media, and all winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. Now, if you don't know what those full T's and C's are, that's fine. We've got the full thing for you. Just head on over to that handouts tab, click in, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll find them waiting for you there. Now, the absolute most important thing to remember is that we love getting all your insightful questions during these live webinars. In fact, we love it so much that we actually have a special additional prize for all you inquisitive folks out there. So in today's EcoCast, we will be giving away a prize for the best question asked in each of our live sessions. Now, the expert speakers and teams will review all questions asked after we wrap the webinar, which means that even if your question does not get read out in a live session, there is still a chance to win. If you are a lucky winner here today and you would like to donate the value of your prize, we have several wonderful organizations that we partner with. So let us know when we follow up about your big win, and we'll get that rolling for you. Again, we are so happy to have you all here with us live at the EcoCast today, and we want to keep that good feeling going, so let's connect on social media. Reach out and connect with Actual Tech Media on Twitter and on LinkedIn. We have lots of great content, and we always want to hear from you. Now, if you're looking for more awesome content and resources right after we wrap the EcoCast today, be sure to subscribe to the Actual Tech Media channel on YouTube. Another fun way to win a prize and, hey, grow this awesome community is to refer an industry friend or a coworker to the Actual Tech Media webinar series. Now, you'll find a link to do that right in your handouts tab, and you will also be automatically redirected at the end of the webinar. And both you and your coworker or friend could win a prize, and we hold those drawings every month. So be sure to refer a friend, because it could quite literally be a win-win situation. Next, we have a cool opportunity for all the decision makers out there to get connected with new and emerging tech and innovative vendors. Here's how it works. All you need to do is click on the link in your handouts tab, fill out a quick application, and the Actual Tech crew will then match you with some vendors that we think you should probably be chatting with based on your needs. There will also be fun opportunities that you get to choose to join in, like surveys, test runs, new solutions, extended demos, and so on. You'll get some chances to win extra prizes, you'll chat with great people, and you'll learn about the hottest new trends in tech. So be sure to apply, or hey, send that link to a decision maker on your team. Now, I want to take a quick minute here to remind you all about one of my favorite resources, and that is ransomware.org. You can find out everything you need to know about ransomware, how to prepare, prevent, and recover. This site is jam-packed with information, helpful tips, checklists, strategic approaches, case studies, everything you need in one place. So wherever you are in your ransomware preparedness journey, there is something for you at ransomware.org. Go check it out and start exploring. All right, I have one more exciting resource I have to tell you about today, and that is the Gorilla Guide Book Club. It's going to give you access to free enterprise IT books authored by top industry experts, so you can stay up to date on trending enterprise technology. And yes, these books will work on your Kindle, your mobile device, and as I said, they are completely free. You can download these awesome resources at gorilla.guide, and there's a link for you in that handouts tab as well. All right, well, we have covered a lot of important things already, and I don't know about you all, but I am excited to dive in. So let's get going.
Thanks, Jess, and hi to everyone on today. Welcome to this Actual Tech Media EcoCast on Power Up Your Database, surveying the tools that take data analytics, integration, AI, ML, and intelligence to the next level. I want to start by saying a big thank you for joining us today. We have got you logging in from all over the place. I see people from Atlanta, Indiana, Nova Scotia, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Texas. You're everywhere today. Thank you so much for being here with us. On the EcoCast today, we've got some of the most innovative leading companies in this space, and you will be hearing from experts from Click, Informatica, and Precisely. They will be showing you how to get more out of your data and how to use it to create new opportunities for your business. Does that sound intriguing? I think it does. All right. My name is Keith Ward. I'm with Actual Tech Media, and I am really excited to be here today. Now, you've already met Jess, and Scott Becker is our other fantastic moderator. So one of the best things for me about moderating these is I get to give away some great prizes. Today we are going to have giving out three $300 Amazon gift cards. And just remember, as Jess said, that you do have to be in attendance during the whole event to qualify for the prizes. If you want to find out more, as she said, you can read the boring stuff in our handouts section for more on that. And now that all that is out of the way, why don't we get going? We have got a great keynote coming up on next generation database tools from the fabulous Joey D'Antoni, the principal analyst with Denny Cherry and Associates. And Joey is ready to go. So I'm going to turn this over to him. Joey, the mic is all yours.
Hello, I'm Joey D'Antoni, and welcome to Power Up Your Database, surveying the tools that take data analytics, integration, artificial intelligence, machine learning, all to the next level. I've been working with data systems for all of my career. I started out as an intern working on Oracle databases back in the 90s, and I have seen the evolution of data systems. I've worked in enterprises, I've worked in smaller companies with a wide variety of clients that have a myriad of data issues and opportunities. And I say issues and opportunities not jokingly, because there really are. Sometimes you have data issues, and there are other places where you can really make business leverage out of your data. And there are a few things that I wanted to talk about in this session about how over time those types of data systems have evolved, where they're headed, some of the influence of things like generative AI, because these are things that are going to change, and just some of the general trends that I've observed over my 30 years in the data industry, seeing some of these things. So first, let's get started by talking about the evolution of data systems. I know there's some stuff that predates relational databases. There are hierarchical databases, and there is some other types of databases that happened before I started working in IT. But my knowledge kind of starts, and I'll plan us into the 80s, I'll say, and definitely the 90s with relational databases. So technologies like Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, IBM DB2, amongst other relational databases. And these databases have several characteristics. The most common being ACID compliance, which means the way they handle and manage transactions to protect data. They're also all generally, nearly universally queryable by the SQL language, which SQL stands for Structured Query Language. This has kind of become the de facto analytic language, even for systems that don't necessarily inherently look like relational databases or have SQL support built into them from the start. It's something that kind of business and analytic users demand. Relational databases store their data in tables. They have indexes, foreign key references, all those sorts of things. They scale relatively well. They're mostly optimized. If you look at a lot of the optimizations that are made, they are optimized for write workloads, but they are write limited because ultimately the way transaction logging works, under very high write scenarios, they may be constrained, and these writes can go really high. I've worked with customers that, using some complex in-memory structures and proprietary databases, got up to 13 million transactions per second, which is very impressive, but they're still challenging. One of the other challenges with relational databases from a write perspective, it's hard to make them work as a multi-master write, which is one of the other reasons why scaling that write workload is challenging. Relational databases have been a part of IT forever and will continue to be. They are kind of the gold standard for transactional systems. One of the things that started happening roughly about 10, 12 years ago was the advent of big data systems. And I think the first big data system I really worked with, and probably the most popular at the time and kind of what became the core of the ecosystem of these solutions, is Hadoop. And Hadoop is, for all practical purposes, kind of dead now. It's been replaced by Spark. And Hadoop's legacy is its own distributed file system called HDFS, which is a distributed file system that runs across nodes. These systems are really good at scaling out for read workloads. They're okay, and now with certain types of file formats like Delta stores, they do support some level of update and insert activity. But for the most part, these are append-only type systems that use a variety of techniques, and like MapReduce, which was kind of the original way Hadoop worked, but scanning and optimization. If we kind of like lump these all into data warehouses, and these systems are mostly read optimized, so they're and everything from a data lake, data warehouse, all kind of fall into what I would call big data systems now, and they share some common technology sets. NoSQL data stores, on the other hand, NoSQL stands for not only SQL, but these were databases that kind of came up in around the same time as Hadoop, but as a reaction to the notion that the relational database couldn't scale. And I think some of that was probably related to some of the storage technology we had at the time, which wasn't keeping up with CPUs. And I think as we've seen things like solid state storage evolve, we've seen NoSQL data store, or we've seen less, restrictions on relational, but NoSQL data stores still meet some developer needs. Developers have different sets of needs than potentially database folks. NoSQL gives them a lot of flexibility. We see these kinds of databases like Cassandra or MongoDB, which is a JSON document database. It becomes really easy for developers to write against those, and it's easier to manage changes in schema, which is one of the reasons why they like them. And finally, where do we see these things going into the future? I think there are a lot of different approaches, and one of the things I'm going to talk about is the trend towards data fabric technology. Microsoft is making a big push in the space, and a lot of that is towards commodifying and making kind of software as a service data analytics platforms. And there are a lot of challenges with that kind of factor back to the integration of various systems and APIs to pull in all those sorts of disparate systems and have that data together. And have it in one common platform with one common interface. That's kind of the holy grail. And if a vendor can get there, they can have a great deal of success. There are a few prevailing trends, though, in data that kind of date back to my start of my career and things I've observed. And one of the advantages of getting older is having that kind of perspective where I can see the trends that I've seen forever. And the first one is that data volumes are always increasing. Storage has, throughout my lifetime, has gotten cheaper, easier to access, and faster. For a long time, storage had only gotten more dense, but when it got fast and dense, with the advent of big solid-state drives, it became a lot easier to solve a lot of data problems because we could just read a lot more data and have a lot more throughput. This led us to keep more data. We have millions and millions and billions of endpoints in the forms of IoT devices and mobile devices now that organizations collect data from. So those volumes are always increasing. The second trend that I've always observed, and as somebody who's done a number of business intelligence projects, this is something that's always kind of amusing. I really wish I could codify it into something like D'Antoni's first law of data. But this is no matter how frequently the business gets their data refreshed. So say we're using the traditional model of feeding data into a data warehouse from OLTP systems, and we do it once a week. The business is then going to want it once a day. Then 6 to 8 months later, they're going to want it 6 times a day, and then ultimately they're going to want real-time reporting. Almost every customer I've ever worked with has followed this model. We see the business demand more data more quickly, and this is something that we have ways of doing. We can do change data capture and catch streaming data and ingest it into a data warehouse or a data lake, or pick your flavor of analytics system, and do that. It's one of those things, though. However, building it from the start is much easier than retrofitting it after the fact. So it's something that we really want to plan for from the beginning. So it's always good if you're a consultant or a business analyst to ask your executive team, how frequently do they need this data, and do they see that outlook changing? Because it's going to cost more to build it, but we can build it better from the start. The individual technologies that we use change and adjust over time. I mentioned Hadoop earlier, and very few people still use Hadoop in its purest form, but a lot of the tools like Hive and HDFS that I mentioned earlier that were developed alongside of Hadoop for using those technologies are still in use across a number of other big data systems. So we see the evolution of those technologies, and that those things tend to not necessarily be game changers. They just tend to make minor shifts in the way data analysts and data and business intelligence professionals operate. And then finally, this was true when I started my career in the 90s, and it's still true today. I ran into this yesterday on a system at a client. Doing transactions and reporting in the same system is really hard. So if you're, for example, trying to do real-time reporting on sales, maybe you're selling tickets to an event and you want to see how those tickets are selling in real time. That is really a hard design to do. We do have like a notion of it called HTAP, which is hybrid transactional and analytical processing. But even with that a framework doesn't defeat the laws of physics. So when we're trying to write a bunch of transactions to a transaction log on disk in a database, and we're also trying to query that same data, that's something that's always going to be hard. And it's going to be something that, because of rule 2 about the business wants answers to their questions more quickly, that's going to be something that's hard to do. So just be aware of that. So just to survey some of the broader IT trends that I see happening as they relate to data. So these fabric solutions that aim to reduce silos and simplify complex analytics topologies are definitely something that's happening. We see it with Databricks and Snowflake. We see it with Microsoft. Just trying to get all the company's data into one place, into one structure, with a common set of tools for analytics, data engineering, security, different types of reporting. Those are all where those vendors are kind of headed and what they're working on. Solving that problem space is very complex. I don't necessarily know that everything's going to work perfectly immediately, but that is kind of the state of the art in where the vendors are heading. One of the other things we see in data engineering is API-driven data feeds. And this has led to more mature data engineering practices. So instead of necessarily having to hack together ETL processes for multiple different types of OLTP systems that don't necessarily have a common schema, if everything's coming back to you in JSON from an API, I don't want to say it's easy, because JSON is kind of painful in a lot of places, but at least it's a common framework that you're using. Generative AI tools like ChatGPT aim to deliver more productivity to an array of solutions. I've been playing around with some of the GitHub Copilot stuff for writing SQL, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed. I don't necessarily know that it's a total game changer yet, but this space is evolving quickly. And I think it's something that can be really helpful to get users going and get them, make them more productive. Then finally, we see users that can be more adept at making data-driven decisions. So as users become more used to using data to make those decisions instead of going off gut feel, we can see those users getting used to using business intelligence tools and getting better at it. And that perpetuates the cycle where you have to keep working and delivering better solutions and delivering more quality data. And we didn't really talk too much about data quality, but that is the most important thing. You really want to make sure your data is good so that your users are making decisions based on the right data and not, bad data that makes bad assumptions about products. So just to close out with a few key points, users always want more data more quickly. So the more data you can have to help those users justify their decisions, and the more real time you can get them that data, that's going to make those business users happier. It's also going to make your life a little bit harder as an IT professional, but it is something that is the way the world works. Systems and processes can struggle with near real-time requirements. So when you're trying to report against a real-time operational system as events are happening and transactions are happening, that's always going to be challenging. Designing those systems is something that businesses need to plan for adequately and have ways that they can have checkpoints, whether it's checking data as it comes into the front end or just doing smart design around that kind of system. AI is really just the latest game changer in this space. I don't think generative AI is going to immediately make changes, but I think, like many things, it's a key technology that in the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see a lot of evolution because of. And then finally, features and services around data systems and data analytics are going to continue to evolve with both cloud and on-premises solutions. I think we're seeing a subtle shift away from cloud, not wholesale or anything, but you're seeing some organizations not using cloud where it doesn't make sense. Which I think is going to force some of the cloud vendors to bring some of those data analytics solutions back into either a package solution or maybe just a service where you connect the service to your on-prem environment. And I think that's the direction of where things are going to go. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day.
All right. Thanks for that fantastic keynote, Joey. As always, Joey knows his stuff and is great at imparting it to everyone. So always love having him on. So before we get to our first official session of the day, we do have a quick poll question for y'all. As they said when I lived in the South, we're asking what your time frame is for adding new or updating existing IT solutions at your company. So take a look at the choices that you see there on screen right now and let us know. We really do appreciate your feedback on this important question and for taking the time to do that. And we are about to get going with our inaugural session of the day. And so I'm going to give you a couple more seconds to take that poll. We got 4 choices there and a nice little spread that we're seeing. A lot of you aren't sure right now. A lot of you are implementing stuff right now. So again, we really appreciate you taking the time to give us that feedback. And with that, I am going to get going here. Our first session of the day is coming from Click. And presenting for Click is Anand Rowe, a product marketing director. Anand, he is ready and wants to get started. So we are going to get to that right now. Anand, thanks for being on the event today. Take it away.
Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar about winning with data. My name is Anand Rowe. I represent Click and I'm part of the product marketing team. I've worked with other data integration and data governance companies, and I'm very excited to be talking to you. A manufacturing company not long ago claimed that they don't have a data lake problem, but instead they have a data puddle problem. So here are some statistics that illustrate the data puddle problem and the organizational struggle to activate data and build enterprise intelligence. 82%. This is because modern data environments are characterized as being highly distributed, diverse, and dynamic. And organizations don't know where the data is, what it means, and how it's flowing through their organization, because over 3/4 of the organizations say the intelligence about the data is a problem. 2 out of 3 organizations lack AI investments to improve data usage, and nearly 1/3 of the organizations have technical debt in the data environment as a complexity getting in the way of improving operational and business outcomes. 5 different surveys from IDC, a prominent market research firm, validates these common challenges faced by every organization. Most organizations invest in a discrete set of technologies for data processing. A few organizations do so guided by an enterprise intelligence strategy and start to change their relationship with data. Technology enabling enterprise intelligence is conceptualized as having 4 different planes. Back in 2021, the discussion led by market research firm IDC was about the data control plane, which is used to take control of the modern data environment characterized as being highly distributed, diverse, and dynamic. They have since expanded the concept to introduce a data plane below the control plane, where they describe the capabilities and technologies that exist in modern data environments. The data control plane leverages intelligence about data to take control of data environments through governance and engineering. The data analysis plane helps organizations explore and envision data and insights. The decision plane has capabilities that enable decision design, engineering, and orchestration. Each plane is aligned with the personas who must collaborate to achieve common goals rather than only optimize for peak performance within their plane. For example, DBAs and data architects operate in the data plane, data engineers and data stewards in the data control plane, data scientists, data analysts in the data analysis plane, and business decision makers and even automated decision systems in the decision plane. We're going to take a closer look at the data control plane in this webinar, leveraging IDC research that validates the architecture and highlights trends we see in modern data environments for digital business. According to IDC, the data control plane has 3 primary sets of capabilities. Starting at the top, we see capabilities for harvesting and managing intelligence about data. Taking control of data starts with knowing where the data is, what it means to the business, where it came from, where it's going, its classification based on business, security, and privacy, and what the data looks like. Policies are informed by data intelligence and implemented through control mechanisms. Data pipelines, data in the pipelines, and the intelligence about the data in the pipelines is continuously observed and tested for change and quality, identifying when a drift or a shift happens. Data engineering moves, transforms, replicates, federates, matches, and cleanses to data to improve its utility. In a survey IDC ran at the end of 2022, we see that the following data management priorities at hand for the year. As you can see, the 3 domains of the data control plane are at the top of the list. Initiatives to improve data governance and privacy, data engineering, data cataloging, and metadata. What is also interesting is that less than 1% do not have any of these initiatives as a priority. So this validates that our relationship with data is changing. It's not only about the value in the data, values in the data, but how we extract the value from the data and in context. So while at Qlik we are focused on the 3 top planes, I would like to spend my time here with you on the data control plane. We acquired Talent, a leading data integration vendor, a month ago to combine forces with Qlik on the data integration side, which already had capabilities from previous acquisitions of Unity in data integration and Podium in data governance. The combination of Qlik and Talent together forms the largest independent provider of data integration, data quality, and analytics solutions in the market, with over 40,000 active customers in over 100 countries and over 1,800 solution partners globally. Qlik can support customers of any size and scale, and our solutions have been recognized by industry analysts such as Gartner as the leader in each of the markets we serve: data integration, data quality, and analytics. So let me walk you through the idea of a reference architecture and how we fit all these different pieces together in a deployment. You start with the sources where all of this information resides. If you're a Qlik Analytics customer, you can you can directly go to this data, bring it in memory, and start doing analytics. However, if your organization has a strategy that says, hey, we are going to use cloud data management platform as an important part of the architecture, a warehouse, a lake, or a lake house, streaming doesn't matter. And we can help with the data movement. We can do some lightweight cleanup, in-flight transformation, and standardization as part of this data movement process. And when you're moving data, I talked about this essential list to have real-time data. And this is where change data capture plays an important role. But for sources that don't have transaction logs for CDC, we can support things like incremental refresh or even batch when necessary. So this is how you land data into the cloud data management platform. The next step is transformation and automation. The transformation can take different forms depending on where you're moving this data. They may be custom transforms and user-defined fit-for-purpose data sets. You may be doing a transformation and flattening out a big data set for data scientists. You may be doing data lake or data warehouse automation, and that's our model-driven approach to creating analytics-ready data structures. When we do these data transformations, we are automatically generating the code. In this case, we're generating the SQL code so that you don't have to write it. Then we push down that to the targets for execution. And then we are talking that raw data. We are creating views of the data and what we call live views. So users have immediate access to the information just as it lands. It doesn't need to be merged or applied to the target to start to do operational views of that data. We conform the data, we make the data analytics ready and consumable, and all of this is done as part of the transformation and automation process. So as part of the transformation process, we can improve the quality of the data by cleansing it, enriching it, protecting and validating the data. The next step is cataloging. Cataloging is helping to understand and register those data sets, to understand the quality of those data sets and dependencies of those data sets. The next step may be data preparation. As a business user, you may want to do data preparation, take some of the data that's in the catalog and part of the operational pipeline and join it with local data that's not managed. I may want to do other fit-for-purpose manipulation of the data as well. After that, you may use machine learning to enrich the data. You may want to add predictions to the data. You may want to classify the data in an automated way. You may want to do scoring, like customer scoring. And this is where things like Click Auto ML help combine with Click App Automation to orchestrate the creation of things like customer scoring and then to move that data back into your cloud data warehouse or data lake. Now that you have enriched your data into your cloud data management platform, then you may think, how do I take that customer scoring that exists only in the data warehouse and write it back to the system of origin, which may be something like Salesforce? This is another place where Click App Automation can play a role in the use case of reverse ETL. So what is reverse ETL? If you think of ETL as moving data from the source and moving data into a target like a warehouse, reverse ETL takes data from the warehouse and moves it back to the data source. Click App Automation and the connectors that we provide make it really simple to do tasks like reverse ETL, also tasks like synchronizing the catalogs. You can use APIs that are available from both Click Catalog and third-party catalogs in synchronizing that metadata. All of what we offer has these foundational capabilities, the monitoring and governance, open APIs, the ability to do this from both a client managed and a SaaS and hybrid perspective. From the analytics side, we bring in Click's unique capabilities, such as the analytics engine that many of you already love, the associative capabilities, augmented analytics and auto ML. And this is really what Click can bring to the table in its entirety. So when you think about the concept of a data fabric and real-time data and the automation and augmentation that Click can offer, all of this can be encompassed in a reference architecture and a deployment that follows. So as you saw in the previous slide, going from raw data to intelligence is a process that includes establishing data excellence. Here, a combination of data quality and governance plays a key role in improving the data. Initially, an organization might start off with data quality tools and add data governance tools as the business matures. Data quality and governance is not a one-time thing, but something ongoing. Self-service capabilities are needed to ensure that anyone across the organization can be part of the quality and governance process. And data quality and governance is a team sport. Hence, stewardship activities will play an important role in establishing data excellence for various outcomes. So here are 7 use cases to address different needs. First is database to database synchronization, which includes solving the following 4 requirements. First is real-time reporting and analytics, where you replicate data to separate database or warehouse for faster querying and analysis without impacting the primary database performance. Real-time data integration, where you replicate data between databases for consistent and up-to-date data integration across systems and applications. Legacy modernization, where you offload legacy data to a new data store to reduce your current OLAP costs and enhance the query performance. And cloud data movement, where you replicate data between on-premise and cloud databases for consistent and up-to-date target data in the cloud. Second is data warehouse automation, where this enables the scaling of the data warehouse efforts by using push-down SQL for data transformation. This includes 2 groups of capabilities: for automating the design, development, deployment, and operation of a cloud data warehouse, and speeding up time to market by improving the data quality and reducing costs. Third is data lake automation and data lakehouse automation, which involves solving the following 3 requirements: moving data from legacy systems to cloud-based file stores or lakehouses such as Databricks, implementing new data transformation processes, adopting data governance policies to build a data lake or a lakehouse for analytics, machine learning, and AI initiatives. Fourth is database to streams and streams to database integration. So database integration with streaming infrastructure such as Apache Kafka or Amazon Kinesis provides insights from dynamic data and enables swift response to changing business conditions. Similarly, integration of streaming infrastructure such as Kafka or Kinesis with other data targets enables organizations to gain insights from dynamic data and similarly respond to changing business conditions. Fifth is data quality and governance. This use case solves these 5 requirements. Data analysis, where high quality data is crucial for accurate analysis. Customer relationship management, where accurate data enhances customer understanding and improves service. Risk management, where quality data helps identify and mitigate risks. Marketing, where accurate data enables targeted marketing efforts. Financial reporting, where precise data ensures accurate financial reports. Sixth is API services and workflow, which involves API creation and API consumption. First, API creation involves the following 4 steps: creating organizational APIs as part of a cloud-first strategy, building new applications that leverage existing data and functionality via APIs, publishing APIs that control data exchange between multiple parties, creating contracts as part of a data mesh. Second, API consumption involves the following 3 steps: automating business processes such as order processing, inventory management, and customer support, integrating different systems such as CRM, ERP, and e-commerce platforms, and reverse ETL to write back KPIs from the data warehouse to operational systems. The last use case is operational data transformation. This is about converting raw data into a format that can be used by downstream processes such as data exchange, data science, or analytics. So to summarize, as you observed in the address use cases, the combination of Qlik and Talent delivers a data fabric for modern data architectures that serves the widest range of use cases and personas. The 3 unique pillars we deliver is first, a comprehensive set of best-in-class capabilities. We offer data integration, data quality, application integration, and data governance that work with virtually any data source and target architecture or methodology to ensure business users always have the data they need whenever and wherever they need it. Second, the agility needed to address constantly changing technical and business requirements. Through automation, our cloud-independent and technology-agnostic solutions eliminate the barriers and backlog between business and IT, and with a standards-based approach will never lock you into a specific technology vendor or philosophy. Whether you're a data architect or a steward or a citizen integrator, you can be confident that our solutions will enhance your productivity and increase observability to optimize processing and control costs. And third, we deliver enterprise-grade trust for all our stakeholders. Our solutions drive clear and predictable value for your data while supporting complex security, governance, and compliance needs. Whether you're modernizing your cloud data infrastructure, building a data warehouse or lake, ensuring regulatory compliance, or developing an internal data marketplace, Click and Talent can help you in each step of the journey. So, thank you for your time and attention. I hope you received some useful information about shaping your data management initiatives. I will now open it up for questions.
All right, Anand, thank you so much. What a wonderful presentation. So much good information. And I know the audience is really enjoying this because we've got a lot of questions. You ready to dive into some audience Q&A?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's great to see all these questions coming in. So yeah, let's dive in.
Let's do it. Okay, I'm going to start with this one because we had a couple of questions coming in about data integration. I want to spend a little time there.
Okay.
You discussed automation as a way to increase agility. What types of processes are best suited for automation versus those that are still require human involvement? Good question.
Yeah, it is. So, that's a pretty involved question, but I wanted to simplify the answer. So in essence, the automation piece and the human part are complementing each other, right? So you have the ETL pipelines, the data integration pipelines that are largely automated. And then for the rest of the pipeline, there is some amount of human involvement because some of the issues might be complex. There might be context that's needed. There might be some troubleshooting that needs to be done before an answer is provided. Maybe it's certain domain expertise in a specific industry or function that's needed. And so all this requires some human intervention, but a part of it can still be automated. For example, on the data quality front, there could be like data validation and quality checks being automated versus more complex issues requiring some human intervention. And then there's on the metadata management side, there can be some amount of automation, whereas the human can provide context. And when a number of pipelines are running, the monitoring of those pipelines and the performance of those pipelines, the capacity of those pipelines, all of this can be automated. But when there are like one-off issues, when those pipelines don't synchronize and things like that, that will require human intervention. Another example would be data security. So the access controls, the encryption of the data, of sensitive data, can all be automated. But if there is a security breach, then that would require human intervention. And then the last example, because everyone's talking about machine learning, would be for building the machine learning models or for feature engineering. Those parts could be partially automated, but then you're building a machine learning model for a specific domain, for a specific function. So that would require some amount of domain expertise that a human can offer. So to summarize, it will be like a complement, the automation as well as the human part.
I like that. I like that cohesivity there. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, getting to our next question here. We had a question about legacy modernization initiatives. That's a mouthful. One of our audience members is wondering if you could help them determine when to offload legacy data versus keeping it on-prem. What's the criteria they'd be looking for there?
Yeah, must be a mainframe guy or some Oracle guy who has a lot of legacy systems in place. So when you think about legacy data, you probably think about five factors. One is the volume of the data. So if you have large volumes of data on premise, then you would have to think of hardware costs, maintenance costs of the systems, the upgrade costs. And if you move them to the cloud, you would have to think about subscription fees, data transfer fees to moving the data to the cloud, and egress fees, which is basically taking the data out of the cloud and accessing that data. So you have to compare and contrast these two sets of fees as you think about what data to move to the cloud. Then other factors to consider would be, how often do you access that data? Like if you're accessing it often, then it might make sense to keep it on premise. And then, of course, in some of the regulated industries, security and compliance, and where you move that data, which is called data residency. So you can't take the data that's in Europe back to America, for example. So you can't do such things. So that would be a factor as well. And when we talk about processing large volumes of data, you could think about elasticity of the processing. So cloud environments are much more elastic because you can keep buying capacity. So that's another factor, as well as retention policies, how long you plan to hold the data, what's the expected lifespan, and archiving needs. So these are some of the factors to think about as you think about your modernization initiatives.
Boy, these are a lot of really great answers, and we've still got so many more questions, and we are just very short on time. So I think we're going to have to leave it there. But before we take off, Anand, could you let someone out there know if they want to get more information or get started with Qlik, what do you recommend as that very first step forward?
Yeah, so we have several really good assets on our website, and a lot of white papers and ebooks. But if I would start with one asset, it would be like a test drive of our product, and getting getting the feel of our product. We also have like a click through demo of our product where you can click different buttons and you get explanations. So we have various assets that you can access. We have a QR code on the slide that you're seeing, and that will be like a gateway to all the different assets that we have.
That's fantastic. And I totally agree with you. All the resources are wonderful, but sometimes the absolute best way to get excited about a solution, to find out if it's going to be a good fit for you, is just to get in and start playing in that sandbox. So thank you very
absolutely.
much, Anand, for that. And thank you for being here. This has been so much fun. And we have so many questions we're not getting to. So we're going to make sure that your team gets a chance to answer those on live chat or via email and follow up. We'll make sure that everyone out there gets answers. Keep those questions coming in.
Yeah, please reach out to us at qlik.com if I haven't gotten to your question. We ran short of time, but yeah, please do.
I appreciate it very much. I hope we get to chat with you again soon.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Terrific presentation, Anand, and a great Q&A with Jess. Enjoyed that a lot. While we get ready for our next presentation, we do have another poll question for you. We want to know what additional resources you would like to see from Qlik. I'm going to leave this up for a little bit while we get to the next part of this event today, which is going to be our prize drawing. But I'm going to leave this up here in the meantime, so let Qlik know what you want to see from them next. And again, great presentation, and thank you so much, Anand, for educating us on what's going on with Qlik. So we are ready for our first prize drawing of the day. As mentioned at the beginning, you have to be present for the entire event to be eligible to win. And we do have a winner of the first $300 Amazon gift card, and that is Ron McElroy from Alabama. Congratulations, Ron. We'll be in touch with you very soon about claiming your prize. All right, so with that, it is time for our next session. And joining us for this particular presentation is Informatica, and Vivin Nath, the Director of Product Management, is on and ready to go and ready to drop some knowledge on us. Vivin, it is great to have you here today. Are you ready to kick this off?
Yes, definitely. I hope you can hear me well, Keith.
I can hear you great. You
Okay.
have the mic now, so the floor is yours. Take it away.
All right. Thank you very much, Keith. And good day, everyone. My name is Vivin Nath. I lead the cloud data engineering product lines at Informatica. And today I'll talk about some of the data challenges many organizations face and how organizations can transform their existing data into powerful insights with some modern data architectures. So, with safe harbor out of the way, I will go through our agenda. So, I'll first talk about some data integration market trends and challenges, and then take you through some modern data architecture and introduce how Informatica's IDMC platform can help you implement some of those modern data architectures. And we will reserve some ample time for some live Q&A. So you feel free to type in your questions, and we will take them towards the end. Now, today, by many estimates, organizations store over 64 zettabytes of data, and that's a billion terabytes, and that by 2025 the number is only going to go to like 200 zettabytes. Also, this scale of data complexity results in several technology challenges. For instance, data is difficult to understand. It's of poor data quality and therefore cannot be trusted. Systems can't scale for volume and variety of data. More and more data set is actually unstructured and unmodeled. And that means processing them has become hard. And data applications become silos and fragmented. And these technology challenges will result in more several business challenges, which will necessitate areas of investment such as reducing cost and growing revenues, while also increasing customer acquisition and retention and improving customer experiences. And customers will ask for ensuring data is trusted and can be used responsibly and more securely. Now, for organizations who are looking to drive this digital transformation, data maturity will play a very big role. And most organizations start by asking descriptive and diagnostic questions based on the data. And these, as the data maturity improves, many organizations will strive to be more predictive and prescriptive by leveraging this data. But very few move beyond the descriptive and diagnostic question stage and reach the autonomous decision making stage. In fact, only 20% of the companies are successful in their digital transformation journey. And why is that? That's because many organizations have silos in applications, data, and people that create this friction. For instance, an organization's ERP app does not share data with its CRM store. Organization structured data is in a relational database, whereas all the unstructured and unmodeled data is sitting in an object store. And both have different views of the data set. Now, organizations also have different lines of businesses that use their own tech stacks, and all this creates frictions and silos. To break down these silos, the data silos, the application silos, and the people silos, many organizations are looking towards modern data architectures to get a unified view of the data. These modern distributed data architecture patterns are not mutually exclusive, and there are no right or wrong architecture choices. And each of these architecture patterns have their own strengths, and it is important to consider your business goals and priorities first before choosing the appropriate architecture pattern to align with your business goals. Now, let me take you through each one of these three modern data architecture patterns. First is Data Fabric. Data Fabric, as many of you know, is an architecture pattern that is designed to address the challenges of managing and governing data in a modern enterprise. It provides a very holistic approach to data management that connects all the data sources and silos, making them easy to find, easy to access, and use those data. A data fabric supports both operational as well as analytical use cases, and it supports a combination of different data integration styles, including data lakes, data warehouses, data virtualization to create a unified view of data. It also leverages metadata, knowledge graphs, semantics, machine learning to augment this data integration design and delivery styles. Data mesh, on the other hand, is another architecture pattern which focuses on federation and democratization of data. So it is more intended for easy access to data by lines of businesses. And here the data is often organized by data domains, and it's curated by the subject matter experts of these data domains. Data mesh architecture distributes ownership and responsibility for data across the organization, with each domain owning their own data. The third modern data architecture pattern that I talk about is it's a lakehouse. It's a relatively a newer hybrid architecture that combines the use of data lake and data warehouse into one. Lakehouse concept involves implementing similar data management features to those in a data warehouse and directly on a cloud data object store. And data lakes are designed specifically for storing large amounts of raw data, while data warehouses are designed for storing model structured data for analysis. What lakehouse architecture does is combines both of them, gives you the scalability and flexibility of data lakes with the performance and governance of data warehouses. It decouples the storage from the compute, thus allowing you to scale to run many concurrent queries, while also allowing you to ingest ongoing set of streams of data into your data store. So in the in and Informatica's intelligent cloud data management platform provides a single unified platform for all your data management needs, whether it's a data fabric, data mesh, or lakehouse. And we with IDMC Informatica's intelligent cloud data management platform, it breaks down data silos by connecting data sources to data targets, whether it be data lake, data warehouse, database, systems that are on premises or on the cloud. It Informatica Cloud also breaks down people silos by democratizing access to data for all data consumers, whether you're low code or no code personas. Informatica Cloud also breaks down application silos by connecting all applications across on-premises applications with over 250 plus native purpose-built connectors. Now, in the interest of time, I will not cover how to implement all three data architecture patterns with IDMC. I will talk about how you can implement the lakehouse architecture pattern with IDMC. So let's look how you can do that. Now, lakehouse architecture pattern, as I said, like combines both, the data lake as well as data warehouse into one, and that can be used to power your BI analytics and data science and ML applications. Now, I'll go into each one of these numbered boxes one by one. First step is, your data catalog and governance product, which helps you discover and identify the data. So IDC provides the data cloud data catalog and data governance as part of this to satisfy this need. And once you have identified the right data, you would need to ingest your data, and you need to ingest and replicate the data from SaaS applications, on-premises databases to your data lake. And there you can use our cloud mass ingestion product. And once you have ingested your data into your data lake, you may want to transform it, enrich it, and cleanse it. And that's there comes the step number 3, where you can use advanced data quality and advanced data cloud data integration functions. Now, in lakehouse architectures, it involves implementing both similar data management features to those in a data warehouse directly on the cloud object stores. So it is very common not to have two separate, data lake and data warehouse. You can actually combine them into one, where you can use your object store like a cloud data lake for your lakehouse use cases. So steps 3 and 4 are combined into one. However, we have seen in some scenarios you may want to have a separate cloud data warehouse, in which case you want to load the cleansed data set for downstream business analytics and reporting. And here you can leverage Informatica's SQL ELT offering with our advanced pushdown capability as part of the step number 4. Now, for data science and machine learning use cases, in step number 7, you can consume the data from the data lake in a Jupyter notebook, and also um, consume it against any other notebook of your choice, and where you can use out of the box data integration functions and connections in a low code interface, so you can consume those within your Python code as well. Also, if you want to operationalize machine learning models with the data that is fed from your data lake, you can do so using our model serve capability to operationalize any machine learning model as part of your data pipeline. And that will be a step number 7. Now, I'll go into each one of the steps in more detail in the next few slides. So, the first slide was about before data catalog and governance. So, before even loading the data practitioners first need to understand the origin of the data, understand the data attributes, the relationships, the lineage, for better data governance. And our data catalog and governance products helps you to discover and identify the right data to consume. It also comes with many rich capabilities like data lineage, relationship, glossaries, and policies. And you can, for instance, you can leverage the data lineage capability to answer questions like, where is this data coming from and where is it going? And once you have identified the data and tagged and cleansed it, you will want to democratize this data. For this, we have our cloud data marketplace offering, and where you can publish data collections for other data consumers to consume, and also discover and find data collections that other users have published. Now, once you have identified the right data, you will need to ingest the data into your data lake. And that's where cloud mass ingestion offering helps multiple patterns to ingest data. It supports streaming ingestion to load uh, data generated from streaming IoT sources and ingest them into a Kafka queue or a data lake. It supports mass migration of databases, um, uh, using CMR's database mass ingestion capabilities. And to support incremental load, CMI also uses change data capture method. And for managed file transfer, it supports file mass ingestion to bring your data into a data lake. So it supports database ingestion, file ingestion, change data capture, streaming ingestion, as well as application ingestion. And typically, often what you do is you do a mass ingestion first, followed by a change data capture. And all this is available as part of a simple 4-step wizard. So instead of doing a elaborate hand coding, you can use a 4-step wizard where you can select your sources and targets and do both CDC as well as mass ingestion at one go. Now, once you have ingested all your data into a raw data lake, you want to transform it, enrich it, and cleanse it. And there are two dominant patterns that have emerged. One is ETL and the other one is ELT. And which pattern to use uh, comes down to your use case. And in many enterprise implementations, both of these are very necessary. And but neither of them are sufficient on its own. With IDMC's FinOps optimization engine, you no longer have to decide upfront whether you want to use ETL, you want to use ELT, or you want to use Spark-based ELT. You can design your mapping to meet your business requirement, and we will take care of the complexity of the underlying engine by optimizing the execution for the best performance, for the best cost, and for the best functionality. So you don't have to choose the engine, you design the mapping using a simple drag and drop interface, and we will do the rest for you. And not only that, advanced DI also comes with advanced data quality support for handling all bit data, for handling all modern data lake use cases, including NoSQL database processing. It supports open table formats like Apache Iceberg, Databricks Delta Lake, Apache Hudi. It supports all the complex file format processing, whether your file is in Parquet format, Avro format, ORC, JSON, XML, everything. It also comes with the FinOps cost governance angle. I also want to, since I mentioned ELT, I also want to double click a little bit on the SQL ELT a bit, because ELT option has two major benefits, especially when you're using a cloud data warehouse implementation. So using the compute power of the data warehouse application, you get orders of magnitude better performance than a traditional ETL offering. So we have seen 50 to 100x more performance by using our Informatica's SQL ELT capability, because it can run not just optimized SQL queries, but it actually translates your mapping to ecosystem native formats, ecosystem specific commands in Snowflake, Azure, AWS, Databricks, Google, Oracle, for instance. And also, it comes with an additional advantage because you're processing all the data within your data warehouse. The data doesn't leave out, and that results in more improved performance, but also reduce cost, because you're no longer are incurring any data egress charges, which typically ecosystems charge you for. Now, with that said, I will go into the step 7s that I talked about, where InfoCore is a headless data management solution, which brings the power of all the IDMC connectors, transformation, and data quality rules to data engineers and data scientists as well. And they can use the IDE of their choice, like integrated development environment of their choice, to invoke this IDMC functions. So instead of using thousands of lines of code, you can use a single function which can allow you to bring in the data and cleanse the data set at scale. And these transformation capabilities uh, uh, can be leveraged within your favorite notebook, whether you use SageMaker, VS Code, or Databricks notebook, for instance. We also have Informatica's model serve capability, which I talked about, where you can build and operationalize any machine learning model. So whether you use TensorFlow, or you use PyTorch, or any other AI ML frameworks that you use, and you want to operationalize it at scale, you can use our serverless deployment option, which allows you to use this wizard-based approach, where you can upload any ML model and run those ML model at scale for inferencing and model serving capabilities. Now, to summarize, I want to mention that IDMC enables data democratization across the organization for different users with varying skill set and data literacy. We offer no-code tooling for data analysts and low-code tooling for data engineers and data scientists. We also make it easy to get started with our no-code data integration offering with our CDI free and pay-as-you-go offering. And for advanced data engineering offering use cases, we provide advanced data integration offering And for our data scientists and data engineers, we provide InfoCore and ModelServe so that you can build data pipelines in your favorite notebook and operationalize your machine learning models. I want to leave you with some of these stats, and the link to that is also available on our website. It's part of a nucleus ROI study where leveraging our cloud data integration capabilities gave enterprises over 328% in ROI with 75% faster data processing and over 3.85 million in developer productivity savings. And all these are published research based on actual customer use cases, and we are happy to share more. With that, I want to share these few guides, trial links, so you can implement a modern data architecture yourself and leverage the power of your data. And now, with that, let's turn to Q&A questions.
All right. Hey, fantastic presentation, Vivin. So much great information and so useful. The case studies are always awesome to see too. So you are ready for some questions. So let's do that. But while we are doing questions, I'll tell you what. Let's put up the poll question for Informatica. Also, we appreciate your answers on what additional information you would like from Informatica. Let them know right now. This is your opportunity while Vivin and I go over some of your great questions. All right, first question for you today, Vivin. How does Informatica charge for its services?
Great question, Keith. So Informatica's IDMC platform is a truly consumption-based pricing model. So we have something called as Informatica Processing Unit. So as customers procure this IPUs, think of IPUs like credits, and you can use any of our service, whether it's cloud data catalog and governance, lineage, data quality, data integration, our ELT offering, SQL ELT, ETL, Spark ELT, or InfoCore ModelServe, right? Any of those capabilities, and you have access to all our connectors, like 250 plus purpose-built connectors, and you are billed based on your consumption, based on which service you use, on how much you use your bill. So if you're designing something, you're not incurring any IPUs. It's only when you run your workloads that's when you actually incur your IPUs. So that gives you the flexibility to go and design as many mappings, as many ELT, ETL jobs, as many scanners to build your data lineage. But only when you run those jobs, that's when you incur your IPUs. So that gives you flexibility to try out as many services, and you're not bound by a big price as part of subscription.
Okay, great. All right, we have a really interesting question that has to do with one of the industry standard benchmarks, and that is the Gartner Magic Quadrant, which so many people know about. So one attendee wants to know, where does Informatica sit within the Magic Quadrant in your space?
Yeah, definitely. Informatica has been participating in the Gartner data integration, data management MQ for many years, and I'm proud to say that Informatica is right on top, number one, in terms of both ability to execute as well as ability as far as our vision. So we have the best of breed offering, and we are furthest on the top and furthest to the right on this segment.
You can't get much higher than number one on there, can you? So that is a good place to be, yeah, in the Magic Quadrant. Okay, another terrific question. Do you have any customer stories with higher ROI, obviously return on investment, using Informatica's data integration services? So they want to see some real world numbers here.
Yeah, definitely. We have a lot of customer case studies publicly available on our website, but we also have third-party published, independently verified case studies. One of them I mentioned briefly in our slide was the Nucleus ROI report. It was published by Nucleus Research, where they interviewed our actual customers, and you can see and all the numbers that I presented over there are based on the actual customer use cases and their go live success stories.
Terrific, terrific. Okay, I think we have time for one more question here, and I want to remind everyone still that I'm leaving the poll up, so keep voting in that poll and letting Informatica know what you want to see next from them. So finally today, Vivin, how does advanced cloud data integration optimize costs for processing data engineering workloads?
Great question. So what we have done is we have many different engines, whether it's ETL engine or SQL ELT engine or Spark-based ELT engine. So what we have done is we have combined them, abstracted away the complexity, and we ask questions. As users design the mapping, they can choose whether they want to optimize their workload to run for better performance or cost. And based on their preference, along with information like the job SLAs, the job priorities, we can intelligently route them to run it in the most cost performant manner based on their preferences. So that allows them to control their execution based on their business needs instead of worrying about what engine to use.
Oh, excellent. Such good stuff. Such good stuff. Okay. That is a wrap on our time today, Vivin. Such a pleasure to have you on and dropping some knowledge on us for Informatica. Thank you so much for your time and for your insights in the Q&A. We really enjoyed it.
My pleasure. Thank you, Keith, for hosting us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So, we are going to now get to the next part of this session here. So we're going to do another gift card giveaway. I did want to remind you in the meantime, while we're doing that, to get to download that Informatica PDF in the handout section. As one of our attendees, Michael, just recently wrote in, it is an awesome PDF. So I encourage everyone to download that PDF while we give away the next $300 Amazon gift card. The winner of the next one in this particular EcoCast is Ben Meadowcroft from California. That is a name I love. Ben Meadowcroft. Congratulations, Ben. We will be in touch with you very soon about getting you your card. So with that, it is time for the final presentation of this EcoCast. And this particular session comes from Precisely. And presenting for Precisely today is Antonio Contronio, the Senior Manager of Product Marketing. Let's see. I think he is ready to go now. Antonio, are you there?
I am here. Yes, absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
So glad to hear it. So glad to have you here today. Are you tan, rested, and ready to go?
I don't know about tan, but yes, I'm ready to go.
Okay. Unfortunately, we're not on camera, so we can't see how pale you might be today. You now have the floor. Take it away, awesome. Antonio.
Thank you so much. And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's session, From Noise to Brilliance, Supercharge AI with Data Enrichment. I'm delighted to be here with you all today. As mentioned before, my name is Antonio Contronio. That rhymes. That's the easiest way for you to remember that. And I am a Senior Manager of Product Marketing here at Precisely. So what we're going to do today, we're going to have a discussion. We're going to explore the pivotal role of data enrichment in AI development. And we'll discuss how enriching existing data sets with additional context and relevant information can transform AI models from mere noisemakers into brilliant problem solvers. So, and I know that folks throughout the other sessions have done so, but in our session here, I'd like to encourage each of you to ask questions and to engage in the discussion at the end of this session. So for those of you who are not familiar with Precisely, I just wanted to give everybody just a quick overview of who we are, so that you can take that with you. We deliver software, data enrichment products, and strategic services that redefine how businesses manage their data. And our mission is simple but powerful, and it's to deliver accuracy, consistency, and context to an organization's data, and this empowers them to make confident decisions that drive overall success. So with a global presence, we currently are proudly serving 12,000 customers in over 100 countries worldwide, and that includes 99 of the Fortune 100 companies. And we believe that trustworthy data is the cornerstone of any successful enterprise. And that's why we're dedicated to helping organizations across the globe harness the true potential of their data that they have within their organizations. So, and I mean, you all are here, so I don't need to preach too much to the choir, but I did want to give a little bit of an overview. So artificial intelligence, or as AI, as we'll refer to it from here on in, we know that it's transformed how we interact with technology, make decisions, and solve complex problems. It's at the heart of much of the news that we've seen this year, from chatbots that answer our questions to predictive analytics that shape our financial decisions. And with 9 out of 10 leading companies indicating that they have ongoing investments in AI, it really makes you consider what are the factors that lead to successful AI initiatives. And one of those is trusted data. So we'll discuss the technical benefits of using trusted data in a minute. But I wanted to quickly touch on what that means from the business perspective. And I think about a few major success drivers. The first being improved business outcomes. When using high quality data, enrichment data, that ensures that AI driven decision making is based on reliable and trustworthy information, which ultimately, as you may imagine, may lead to faster, better business outcomes. The next is around risk and compliance. So we think about being able to prevent legal repercussions. I'm sure you've seen many of this in the news, but ensuring that we're preventing legal repercussions and reputational harm. We want to be able to use high integrity data that complies with data privacy laws, industry regulations, and ethical standards. Next, I like to think about this as user trust and credibility. So if a user notices that AI-powered applications that they may be served are providing inaccurate results, they'll lose confidence in those systems and may avoid using them altogether in the future. And then ultimately, cost savings, I think, is another big piece when we're thinking about the business benefits of using trusted data in your AI, because untrustworthy data requires extra time and resources to identify and correct errors, leading to ultimately, as you can imagine, inefficient and ineffective AI programs. So for I think the way this was formatted got a little wonky, but that's okay. But for trusted data, organizations need what we refer to as data integrity, and that's what I had on that first slide. This is data with maximum accuracy, consistency, and context for confident business decision making. So this ensures members of an organization can get the data that they need fast enough, that they understand and trust the data that they're going to use in their AI initiatives. And most importantly, I think for the sake of this conversation, is that it has the location-based context to use it. So in other words, the ability of the AI that organizations are developing to make decisions or provide an inference that considers all the factors in the real world around that particular question that they may be trying to answer. So one of the most common and effective ways to add context to data sets is through a process that we call data enrichment. And data enrichment is pretty simple. It's a process in which you're enhancing your data by appending relevant context from additional sources, ultimately improving its overall value, accuracy, and usability. So how do we go about doing that? So we're filling your data with robust context, and that requires reference data sets from a trusted authoritative source like Precisely. And we work with organizations with diverse global needs. And what we find is that we're only able to meet those with expertly curated data sets that contain thousands of different attributes. And those data sets typically fall into a few major categories. The first being address and property data. And this is all the verified and validated addresses and property data sets. This could be for map display, but in this case, it's going to be being able to feed an AI algorithm for various analytics. We also have boundaries data sets that represent the administrative, community, and industry-specific boundaries that we may want to enrich our data sets with. You could think about these even falling into that sort of territory analysis example of like rebalancing specific sales territories, for instance. I think the major category that many of us can relate to is overall demographic and consumer context data on things that, at least here in the States, that folks may be familiar with, like the US Census, for instance, but taking that to the next level around understanding communities, people, consumer spending habits, so on and so forth. Points of interest, so detailed business, leisure, and geographic features around all sorts of different locations around the world, providing people the opportunity to do all sorts of competitive intelligence analyses, amongst many other things. There's also the idea of all of the drivable or walkable or bikeable streets around the world. And this is obviously used for any number of different analyses, from looking at travel times to routing to you name it. And then lastly, this last category being natural hazard boundaries related to flood, fire, earthquakes, and weather. And obviously, I don't need to tell you about the importance of being able to have that information at your fingertips and to be able to build that into models that are going to help us react to an ever-changing world. Okay, so how do we accomplish this? So we can accomplish data enrichment in a few different ways, but none are easier than by using the Precisely ID, which is a unique and persistent identifier that we have for all of the addresses within our portfolio. This leverages our master location data and address fabric, and it enables enrichment of address data with over 9,000 different attributes, as I had mentioned before. So each address is pre-associated with a Precisely ID that links addresses to the data within our portfolio. And you could think about like not having to run massive joins. This makes super fast joins and eliminates complex matching algorithms. Those IDs are already created. They're already there. And so this gives you the opportunity to quickly tie those together. This could be a list of customers that you may have that has a location, and you want to actually tie them to specific buildings or property attributes or purchases and shopping behavior, all sorts of different data sets with a number of different use cases associated with them. But this makes that process very quick and easy and does not require a great deal of technical expertise. This is set up for an easy enrichment process and takes a lot of the complexities that typically are associated with enrichment or joining massive tables together, particularly in a location-based context, making that very easy for users to handle. So I talked about earlier that we were going to talk about the business perspective, but in this case, I wanted to quickly touch on the technical aspects. So data enrichment is, in our opinion, the secret sauce behind supercharging AI models. So by augmenting your data set with additional information, you're not just improving accuracy, you're unlocking a world of possibilities. First, like during the model training process, enriched data provides a richer landscape for learning, resulting in more accurate and robust models. It simplifies feature engineering and reduces the overall manual labor involved in the process. Enriched data also fights overfitting and allows your models to generalize better, and with less noise and more signal, your AI becomes more reliable in general. Once your model is trained, it's easier to maintain. The data pre-processing that goes into it becomes streamlined, and model deployment is more dependable, ensuring that a consistent performance in real-world scenarios is taking place. And then lastly, data enrichment enhances model interpretability. And so clearer, more informative data makes it a bit easier to understand why the AI that you may be deploying is making specific decisions or offering specific inference. So in general, I find that data enrichment isn't just a step; it's a game changer in this process, and it's a key to AI models that are not just accurate, right, but also adaptable, maintainable, and interpretable. There are innumerable examples of how enriched data can be applied to industry-specific AI use cases. I did want to very quickly share two common examples that we see pretty consistently across the board. One is in insurance, and another is in real estate. I actually have a couple examples that I'm going to show you live here in just a minute. But for insurance companies, they use data enrichment with location-based information to assess risk accurately. This goes back to some of those risk attributes that I was just showing before. But for example, home insurance providers use data about property locations, proximity to historical weather events, dynamic weather, and other attributes to calculate premiums more precisely. And then on the real estate side, we find that real estate professionals use AI enriched with neighborhood data, crime rates, school quality, local amenities to provide all sorts of different things like accurate property valuations, for instance. And this will help buyers and sellers make more informed decisions and ensure fair pricing in the buying and selling process. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to show you a couple things live very quickly. I'm going to show you a property risk demonstration, and I'm also going to show you a real estate data demonstration as well, just to kind of give some flavor to both of those examples that I just showed. I'm not going to be showing how they're applied in the actual algorithm. I wanted to actually show you the underlying data so that you had an idea of what that looks and feels like. We're going to use a map viewer to actually explore the information, but certainly all of this data can be subscribe to at the raw level, so you can actually just get the data sets and then inject them into your models into various places, even into, like, for instance, thinking about like LLMs being able to use those to retrieve information directly, contextual information directly from our portfolio to enhance the chat experience, let's say in a real estate example. So we can talk a little bit about those now. So I'm going to have Jordan and team keep me honest. If you guys can see my screen, let me know, and let's go ahead and give this a shot. All right, can you all see me?
We can see it.
All right, awesome.
Oh, yep, there you go.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so what we're going to start with is just some property risk information. I have two quick windows that we'll take a look at. This first is inside of Houston, Texas. So we're going to look at some properties that are along river here in Houston, and then we'll examine some of the underlying data that's associated with each of these properties within the space. And I want to really focus on the actual features that are underneath each of these properties, and then you can kind of think about how you can use that information in training your models or retrieving this information throughout the AI process. So if we just select one of these properties and we open up its overall risk, so we have for each of these properties we have some overall risk scores that'll provide at a high level what the risk is associated with each of these locations. You can see by this each of these different graphs here that this is a fairly low risk property, but it does have a bit higher property fire risk that's associated with it. And then for each of these different risk examples, we have a layer of attribution that's associated with each of these properties that we can jump into: earthquake, flood, wildfire, property fire, coastal risk. So it's not just flood risk that may occur anywhere. It could be coastal flood risk. In this case, we're on the bank of a river with this community, so they wouldn't necessarily experience some of that. But Houston being a coastal city along the Gulf Coast, you can certainly see how that could be associated with some level of coastal risk, as well as fire being associated with each of these properties. And then there's that's just the risk association. And then there's also the property attribution that's associated with each of these. So, and this is just a small slice of the attributes that come with Precisely data. There are hundreds and thousands of different attributes that are associated with various categories that I shared with you before. Okay, so this is just one simple example where we're looking just at the risk and the properties here. So this is sort of that insurance example that I had shared before, being able to ensure that we're feeding whatever it may be, like the specific model, or perhaps an insurance agent that's actually trying to provide some consult to a customer, being able to ensure that that person has access to the relevant information fed to them by their model so that they can make the right decision or pass along that information to a prospective buyer in that case. Okay, so one other example that I wanted to provide was for real estate search. So in this case, we actually just wanted to look at either properties within Fort Lauderdale. I believe I also have Westchester, PA, if we want to jump in there. But we have, if we select one of these properties, we'll have the similar property attributes that we looked at before, whether that be the individual property type or the value, things like that. But also you see this precisely ID here at the top. That's what I was referring to before. That's that unique identifier, that persistent identifier that we can, for any particular location, be able to tie to all of those different data sets so that you can quickly join those tables, enrich the data, and accelerate your overall pipeline. So these are all of the property attributes, but we looked at those in the risk example. I did want to show some of the lifestyle examples that go along with that as well. Schools, public safety, community, and everything near me. So that gets into sort of some of those points of interest information that we may have available to us. So we can quickly scan some of that. One of the things that we see often, and I can get into an example later if we'd like, is looking at the public safety information and how that's used throughout a number of different analyses. We also have community-related information around the community and lifestyle, and then obviously all of the associated points of interest. In this case, we're just looking at grocery stores or pharmacies. But if I were to jump over to, let's say, look at New York City, and then look at some of the different product overlay layers that we have to look for. Let me grab my points of interest and look at the restaurants within New York City, and see the sort of the large concentration of those different locations throughout the space. So this is just a very quick overview of the data that's available. I'd love to provide some examples once we get to the questions. But this is just a sample of what we have to offer in terms of the depth and breadth of data sets that folks can purchase from Precisely. Use within Precisely location intelligence tools. If you want to actually visualize this, Precisely has all sorts of different mapping visualization capabilities through MapInfo Pro or through MapReveal, our SaaS-based mapping tool. So all of this is available in a number of different deployment options as well. If you didn't necessarily want to apply this to an AI use case, but you actually wanted to apply this to a traditional location intelligence use case, that's also possible for our users. Okay, let me stop my screen share. And I'm actually gonna ask the proctors here. Does that bring the slides back up for you all?
Yep, it sure does.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. So let's jump in. I'm going to give some quick key takeaways for everybody before we open up for questions. I like to keep these pretty short and sweet. But for you all, like, what is data enrichment? If we're going to bring away just a couple things from this presentation, is what is data enrichment? It's appending relevant context from trusted, authoritative third-party sources like Precisely. How does it improve your AI? It improves its accuracy, performance, and utility across all sorts of different applications. And then how does it benefit you in the business? And it improves business outcomes, it saves money, and it improves user trust in the applications that you are providing them. So I appreciate you all for having me and for tuning in for the presentation. So at this time, I'll go ahead and open it up, and we can gather some of the questions from the chat.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Antonio, for that presentation. That was just awesome. What I'm going to do here is put up the poll question while we answer questions so that folks can submit their requests for what they would like to see next from Precisely. So please go ahead and vote in that poll while Antonio go over some of these awesome questions that you're asking. So Antonio, first, Paul wants to know, are practical AI algorithms for data analysis, for example, incorporated into the AI LLM, that's large language model, implementation when using Precisely's data integrity suite?
So today we were just discussing the data, but in terms of the data integrity suite, which is Precisely's SaaS-based suite for actually providing data integrity to many data sources that you may have, we are incorporating intelligence into the data integrity suite to ensure that folks are fed suggestions on how they can improve the data that they're connected to, for being able to catalog and surface semantic-based quality rules that you may want to apply to your data. So we're certainly including AI and intelligence in general, and not just AI intelligence, but there's some machine learning-based intelligence that we've brought there, and then also human-based intelligence that there are ways that you can include your own industry or subject matter expertise into feeding the data integrity processes that you may be providing to the business. Those are all applied through the data integrity suite. So yes, to kind of short answer would be yes, we are including intelligence into the suite for our users.
Okay, terrific. So here's an interesting one. Why is quality enrichment data often considered a linchpin of successful AI projects? And here's kind of the opposite coin as a follow-up to that. Can you share examples of how poor quality enrichment data has derailed AI initiatives and how we can overcome these challenges? So first part of that, Antonio, why is quality enrichment data often considered a linchpin of these successful AI projects?
Absolutely. I think this is pretty short and sweet. The AI initiatives that rely on poor quality enrichment data, we typically see that they expend significant resources in data collection, processing, model deployment, and unfortunately, only to discover that the results are pretty unreliable. We see all the time that folks that are attempting to source their own enrichment data run into all sorts of challenges. I think I even see a question here similar to this. Is like, what are some of the negative consequences? This is one of those places that I think that there would be some negative consequences. If you're sourcing your own enrichment data, you may actually be enriching your data with information that doesn't comply with any sorts of governance that you may have around your AI algorithms. It may also lead to a situation where you're enriching with the wrong or outdated data, which may end up resulting in unreliable results when you actually try to use that inference for decision making within the business. And to sort of answer the second part of that question, and we see that this wastes all sorts of time, money, and effort. That typically folks that are actually building these models, these are highly sought after resources, and so that could even be invested into more effectively with like higher quality enrichment data, so that it improves their workflow and ultimately the business outcomes that come from them deploying these models to the enterprise.
And then you have to spend more money to fix the bad data and replace it with good data after you do all that too. So there's just a lot of costs involved, aren't there?
You got it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. I think we have time for one more question here. In the context of using third-party data for enrichment, what are the key ethical considerations that organizations need to address?
No, that's a great question. So we actually think to maintain. I actually touched on this in the last answer a little bit. To maintain fairness, we see that organizations need to develop some sort of robust data governance practice that outlines how third-party data is acquired, processed, and used throughout the AI development lifecycle. And this should include establishing clear roles and responsibilities within the organization for data ethics and compliance. So, and that can really come in many ways. We see a lot of our data governance users using our technology for applying those policies at the organization level and helping people really understand how they can use data, how it should be used, the lineage of that information, and just establishing a level of trust and credibility with the user that they know if they go and grab these data sets, that they can trust that that they've been vetted by the organization, there are policies around them, so that they don't have to worry about any sort of inference that they gather from this, that they're going to ultimately make some sort of decision off of, is fed by untrustworthy data that may actually be out of line with their ethical considerations that they may have, or are completely out of compliance altogether. So that's certainly a way that we know that organizations can ensure that they're not falling into some of those pitfalls.
All right, great. Well, that's all the time we've got for questions right now. I'm sure Precisely is going to follow up on any and all questions that come in as well that we weren't able to get to today. And I'm going to leave this poll up here for another minute. And I wanted to mention one more time that we have a great handout from Precisely in the handout section that you need to download as well. You got another couple of minutes for that as well. So Antonio, final thing today, if someone wants to take the next step with Precisely, what is the very next thing they should do after this event ends in a few more minutes?
Yeah, if you just go to precisely.com, we can connect with you around data integrity at a whole, whatever that might be that you're interested in with. We have a number of ways to contact us through our website. So I would certainly guide you there, and we'll get you connected with the right individual.
You won't make yourself hard to get hold of, will you?
Absolutely not. No, we make it, honestly, we make it very easy. Yes. Exactly. It's pretty much plastered all over the website. So if you want to get a hold of us, you know where to find us.
Exactly. Well, it's been so much fun to have you on today, Antonio, for the great presentation. Love the demo and the Q&A. Just a lot of fun, and really appreciate you being here and updating us on what Precisely is doing these days. Really fascinating stuff. We will be keeping a close eye on your company. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the time.
And folks, that is a wrap for our presentations, but we are not done yet, as they say on the infomercials, right? But wait, there's more. We have got to do our final gift card drawing of the day. We have one last $300 Amazon gift card, and the winner of that is Jeffrey. All right, gonna work hard on the name here. Koizumi from California. Jeffrey Koizumi from California. You are the winner of the final card. Congratulations. We will be in touch about getting you your card ASAP. And folks, did you enjoy this event today? I really had a good time. If you did, and this is something you think your company would be interested in, let us know. We would love to tell people about your platform or solution. We've got hundreds of events each year that would probably be a great fit for you. We can also do custom events if you'd like. Just contact us, connect with us at actualtechmedia.com, and we would be happy to follow up and let you see what we can do for you. And the last thing I wanted to let you know about before we cut you loose is we have got an excellent event coming up in just a couple of more days that you might really be interested in. It is called Up-Leveling Business Continuity, Ensuring the Availability of AV Meeting, Collaboration, and Classroom Instruction Systems. This is such a hot topic right now with all the work from home and all the remote work. So this is something that I think is going to appeal to a lot of people. Sign up now for that event coming in a couple of days, September 14th at noon Eastern, which is, of course, 9 a.m. Pacific time. What's that going to be? Thursday, yeah, at noon. So with that, I am out of here, folks. I had so much fun with you today. And on behalf of the entire Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank all of our presenters for putting together these fantastic presentations, demos, Q&A insights, just a whole lot of goodness that came your way. And I want to thank our participants, Click, Informatica, and Precisely for making it available. Without them, I wouldn't have been here, and neither would you. So last but not least, I want to thank all of you attendees for being here. It's such a pleasure to be with you and to spend time with you. So that's it, though. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for your engagement. And we will see you on the next one. That concludes the event. Have a great rest of your day.